Hey, what's happening? Welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is D, and today we're going to be talking about Couple to Thruple, Peacock's original polyamorous dating show. But before we get into all of that, I got to give a quick shout out to my Plus Ultra Don't Fretters, my top tier supporters on Patreon, Peggy Lou Who, Laughing Cat Dog, and JJ Valdez. Thank you all so much for helping to ensure I'm able to keep creating content and put it out as frequently as my depression and burnout will allow. No, but seriously, I genuinely couldn't keep making content without the support of my patrons, and it really means a lot. So if you want to gain access to exclusive content you won't find anywhere else, gain access to my private Discord server, and support the channel and help me do this, make sure you consider subscribing to my Patreon at patreon.com/don'tfret_. If not, no worries, but please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. While you're at it, share this video with a friend, or if you hate the video, send it to your enemies. Yo man, this content is mid, and it made me think of you. You. No, but seriously, my friend Rachel, hi Rachel, shared this video, and that actually made a big difference in how that video performed. This was a weird couple of weeks for me on YouTube. By the way, I might be yapping a little bit, so you can just skip ahead to the point. Maybe I'll put a time code or something. I don't know. Sorry. It's like 10:15 p.m. when I started filming, and usually I'm done by 1 p.m. So just so you know how my day has been going. In the last couple of months of 2024, I was doing like exclusively booktube videos, and I was reading, which is boring by the way, the same book over and over and over again. Like, yeah, it had a different title and cover and character names, but a lot of these book talk sensation romantices are just derivative of each other. And I don't really have a problem with things being really similar if they're good. I'll order a burger from a bunch of different restaurants. Like tomorrow, me and my editor are going out for burgers. But if the burgers are mid or like nothing burgers, then it's horrible. It's like not fun anymore, you know? When your content is centered around just being like, yeah, this burger isn't good, the meat's not cooked, and it's nothing but mayo and pickles, like that's not a fun way to spend your time. And I was making the same jokes over and over and over, and like some people don't really have a problem with that, you know, some people like that familiarity, but it's boring for me as the person making the jokes. I've been wanting to branch out for a while, you know. I didn't want to just review trash novels. I wanted to review trash TV, bad movies, good movies, anime analysis, video game breakdown. I don't know, haven't figured it all out yet. But as I branched out, I really wanted to make sure that my core audience knew I wasn't dropping books entirely. They were still going to get some of the content that they appreciate from me. I just want to experiment, try some new things, put out this video, been like, yo, I'm quitting booktube. I don't want to exclusively do books anymore. I want to move on. And 3 to 4% of my audience was like,
well, I gotta bounce. Thanks a lot for proving just how ugly and immature you are. It's been real. And just so you know, I don't really care about your problems.
Which stung a little. It kind of freaked me out for a second. Then I dropped the video that's like the first 5 episodes of this series, and initially that video kind of bombed. Like another 50 people unsubscribed when I dropped it, and I was like, oh yeah, that feels personal. And while there were a lot of comments that were like, oh yo, I'd love to see part 2, I was like, there's still like 12 comments, you know, like the engagement's not really there. And I really wasn't sure. But then Rachel gave it a little shout out, and a bunch of more people came through like, yo, give me part 2. So this video is brought to you by Reads with Rachel. Do you like reading? Me neither. Do you like pretty, mean, goth adjacent women? Me too. At Reads with Rachel, a pretty, mean, goth adjacent woman reads books so you don't have to. Head on over to Rachel's channel and use promo code DFretterSentMe for absolutely nothing. This video is also brought to you by my wife. If not for her, I probably would have watched like episodes 1 to 3, stopped there, made a video about it, seen that the video was bombed. The video wouldn't have been as good, I think. Also, I would have seen that it bombed and just like never touched the series again and moved on to something else. While I wasn't able to go to work, we watched like the whole series together. And I kept being ready to tap out. She's like, no, we're fucking finishing this, buddy. I don't know when you're allowed to swear in a YouTube video. I think it's like the first minute you can't swear or something. I don't know. Anyways, if you were waiting for part 2, if you like this video, don't just leave a like on the video. Drop a thank you, Alana, with 2 N's in the comment section. Also, if you have other dating shows you want me to watch with my wife, drop those recommendations in the comments down below. Whenever we have like movie or TV night, We like sit down, make some popcorn, and do our nails together. It's really fun. All right, so in case you forgot or you haven't seen my first video, Couple to Thruple is a Peacock original polyamorous dating show in which 4 couples that are looking to try out or are new to polyamory mix and mingle with 14 sexy singles to see if they want to add a third to the mix. I'm gonna do this disclaimer one more time. I am not here to make fun of or like poke and prod at the polyamorous lifestyle. It's not for me, but I'm not trying to point and laugh like,
oh, this is so weird, this is so dumb, this is so gross.
I just thought it'd be fun to like do a video kind of like some of the creators that I watch, but with a show that I hadn't seen them talk about. I'm sure like other creators have already talked about this show to death, like on TikTok, rest in peace, or on here. I have no idea. I'm not that tapped in. So yeah, just like, let's not be assholes in the comment section. Just because a lifestyle isn't for you doesn't mean it's not valid. This didn't even occur to me to say last video because I felt like it went without saying, but like, don't be homophobic or biphobic in the comment section either. So we left off on episode 5 where Jonathan says that he's not sure if he's the right single for for Ashmal and Ramon, and he thinks that he should swap out of the throuple.
Jonathan, you would like to swap. I just feel like they need to figure some things out and talk some things out within themselves as a couple before including me as in the throuple.
Episode 6 picks up right after that. Scott, the host, is like, all right, well, how do you guys feel about that? And Ashmal says something like, who wouldn't want to leave this chocolate factory?
How are you fellas feeling?
I completely get it. If I was in your shoes, I would try to get out of this chocolate factory as soon as possible.
I feel like Ashmal was going for the role of Willy Wonka in the movie Wonka. But let me tell you something, Ashmal. You could never be Timothy. You could never do this.
Live from G25, let's go. Statistic, yep. Statistic, yep. Statistic, yep. Statistic, yep. Miss Law M, Miss Law M.
Ah, so catchy. And Ramon doesn't take it nearly as well.
I think that when stuff gets hard, you can either run away from it or you can work through it if it's worth it. And I mean, I guess he thought it wasn't worth it.
I feel like most people shouldn't be poly in this way. You know what I'm saying? In the comment section of part 1, somebody commented, they all seem like the I saw you from across the bar stereotype, which I don't really know what that means. I don't really go to bars. I'm more of a pub guy, better food. But nobody seems less ready for polyamory or even like an adult relationship than Ramon. I'm not a relationship expert. I haven't been a perfect partner. But it's just that Ramon is such a guy in the sense that he really struggles with vulnerability, communication skills, humility, and handling his emotions.
Oh, D, are you saying that if you're not good at talking about your feelings, you don't deserve love?
No, that's not what I'm saying. That's crazy. I'm saying your relationships aren't going to go well if you're not willing to listen to people, if you're not willing to talk about your feelings, if you're not able to consider other people's feelings. And from what we've observed in the show already, you need even more of those communication skills. You need emotional intelligence. You need self-awareness in order to handle multiple relationships in polyamory. So Scott gives Ramon and Ashmal an opportunity to pick a different single. Some people step forward.
Come hang out with you guys, but I don't know, this is all so crazy.
And Ramon and Ashmal decide that they need to get on the same page and they choose no one. So they're just back to being a regular old couple.
I think we should just not take anyone back.
In my notebook, which I don't have in this room right now, I wrote down, they should break up. I know that's really harsh and judgmental, and I'm seeing the worst of these people in order to make good television. But I just think that Ramon, if he struggles with expressing his feelings as much as it seems like he does based on the edit, would really benefit from some individual therapy and some like getting in touch with oneself. You know what I'm saying? So the night ends and all the happy thruples go back to their respective rooms and they get busy. I was writing something down and I almost missed it, but Alana pointed out that the captions say thruples moaning. And that's pretty funny. Ramon is very, very sad, so he very dramatically turns Jonathan's picture around so he doesn't have to look at it anymore. The next morning, Ramon and Ashmal have a talk, just the two of them, and Ramon looks so fucking sad here. Ramon looks so sad here, like it's almost memeable, but I don't think the show is popular enough for it to be a meme, you know what I'm saying? I was convinced they weren't going to stay for the whole show at this point.
How do you feel about just you and I as a couple?
I mean, I honestly don't know.
This episode's relationship session's all about communication, so the Thruples and the couple go on a little field trip into, like, the woods. Or the jungle. They're in Panama. Did I say that yet? I don't know if that's been relevant, but yeah. This is kind of funny, but as the Thruples and the couple are walking up, like Scott and Shamira are already there. Shamira's just being like the fun mom that she is and saying hello to people. And she says hi to Ramon, and Ramon fucking snubs her.
Hello. Ashma, hi, Ramon. Uh-oh.
And I was just like, dude, don't be rude to Shamira. She had nothing to do with this. She's a rose without thorns. You need to check yourself. Anyways, I got a little passionate there, and I apologize. What was I saying? Relationship session. Oh yeah, so they got to build a tent in 20 minutes, and you got to communicate.
You got to communicate.
When I was like grabbing the clips for this, I got really distracted for a second because like Brittany just looks like an absolute goddess in this shot. Oh my goddess, that is wow. And while we're talking about people's looks, look at Scott. Remember when I said that he had like a weird camp counselor energy? Look at this slutty little camping outfit. Look at this fucking trollop. And the megaphone does not help.
You got to communicate.
Anyways, everyone acts like building a tent is the craziest thing they've ever been tasked with. They're acting like they're all Hercules and this is one of their 12 tasks. It's one commonality I see with shonen anime and reality television is sometimes you really need to play up drama that isn't there. Corey, Wilder, and Denise win because, they're all outdoorsy types. They're really solid. Like Corey and Wilder, I guess they're pretty solid even though they had a little slip up in years past. They vibe really well with Denise. That's why Wilder threw the chair at the last dance swap session. So they're good. They win. Whatever. Who cares? And we shouldn't be surprised. Denise likes rock climbing. Remember that? Brittany, Sean, and Denise's... Denise tries to take the lead with Brittany and Sean and try to help, get this project done. It just doesn't happen. And they're like, whatever. We're meant for hotels. The important thing is that we communicate. And we did that. So whatever.
It's really about communicating with your partners, and we knew that from the very beginning.
No, actually, I did not know that.
Well, I did.
And I'm like, I guess. I don't know if black people don't camp is a vicious stereotype, but if it is, I could see somebody from I guess where I'm, Vancouver, and being like, see, they can't do it. And their name's probably Caitlin or something. Ramon and Ashmal actually managed to get their tent up just in the nick of time. And Ramon talks about communication like he's Ebenezer Scrooge learning the true meaning of Christmas.
While we're building this tent, I feel like Ashmal's really listening to my advice. I'm really listening to his advice. And I'm like, holy crap.
Darian tries to talk to Brittany and Sean about wanting a little bit more physical affection and kissing and intimacy and stuff like that, and they're not super receptive to what she has to say.
Okay, how are you all feeling with the affection at this point?
They talk about wanting a third person to lead them in that.
We came into this situation looking for someone to lead us in that department.
I think that's I was talking about it a little bit before in the last video, where I feel like one of the issues that they have is that they kind of don't want to do a ton of work. They just want someone to do the work for them. I was having coffee with a friend this morning, and we were talking about how relationships, all relationships, whether you're talking about platonic, romantic, whatever, they're inherently inconvenient and they inherently take work no matter what. And if you're just not willing to do the work and maybe even step out of your default comfort zone a little bit, it's not going to go great. Obviously, I'm not saying relationships, you need to be uncomfortable all the time or something. That's not good either. You should definitely feel safe with whatever. I just mean honestly, I don't think you need to add another person to your relationship in order to bring in affection and physical touch. You should just be affectionate and touch each other a little bit more. Obviously, if you want to be poly or try poly, go for it. I'm just saying you don't need to be poly in order to be physically affectionate.
That's where you go. We're going to sleep.
Eventually, I think it does kind of sink in, and Sean and Brittany realize that they want to be more affectionate with each other and with Darian. Corey, Wilder, and Denise decide to leave the resort early.
We've now made our choice, and we've made it official.
they go and talk to Shamira and Scott, who are just waiting for them on the beach. And then they go and gather everybody in, I guess, the living room. And, oh no, they call it the atrium. Whatever. I don't even know what an atrium is. Who fucking cares? The point is that they tell everybody.
So it is really hard to tell you that right now, we're gonna be exiting the resort.
Becca cries. I was very upset. I was like, how dare you make Becca cry? She's an angel without wings, you bastard. So they leave, you know, it's very heartfelt, and they're off out into the world. Oh, what's gonna happen? And then Becca says, like, no more happy thruples, everybody keep having problems so that nobody has to leave or something like that.
Everyone else continue to have issues, so none of us have to leave, okay? No happy thruples anymore.
I feel like she jinxed it. Feeling very arcane up in here because she jinxed it. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's not a jinx, but it's definitely like a be careful what you wish for type of situation. That night, the mixer is a masquerade ball of sorts, and Scott introduces a new couple to replace Corey and Wilder. Psych, just kidding. They're 2 new singles for some reason. Brody and I have no idea what this woman's name is. Vanessa, maybe? Veronica? I don't know. That's okay because they literally never show up again in the show. I guess they were just brought in for that bit or something. I don't know. Like, I just don't know what purpose they served. Also, Brody has like this weird energy where he's like an awkward used car salesman who's super into sleight of hand magic, but he isn't good at it. And I know that's specific, but you can't tell me I'm wrong. Maximo and Ash walk over to Jonathan and they're like, yo, we're interested. We want you. We want to pursue something with you. And Jonathan's like, that's great, but like, Becca's my dog. That's my nigga. Like, I'm just kidding. He didn't say that. He's not racist, probably. Well, you know, you never know these days. Dylan and Lauren kind of like try to patch things up or clear the air with Mia.
Whether it's Jess or, you know, now we have these new singles here too. So I just wanted to talk just to see if like where you were at coming off of that stair swap ceremony.
And she calls them out and she's like, yo, you know, I'm feeling like you guys just kind of want to pick me up, play with me, put you down, try something new. And then if we like you more, we'll come back.
It does feel a little bit like, oh, we're going to pick you up and play with you, then put you down and pick someone else up. And then maybe if we like you more, we'll pick you up and play with you again.
I think that that's really dope that she kind of like stood up for herself in that way. I really respect that. That couple's been giving me weird vibes the whole show. I'm sure like they're perfectly nice in real life and it's part of the edit and all that stuff. But at the very least, like if you like it should give you something to think about, you know? Like if you're not coming across the way you intend to, maybe you need to try being a little bit more mindful, more demure about how you treat people. I don't know if I used that right. I'm sorry. That's like an old reference. Ashmal, Ramon, and Jonathan are having like a deep conversation, trying to figure things out, maybe patch things up. And this guy Brody just comes in and hangs out for a second. And it's so fucking funny. This guy is so strange.
Yeah, have been the rounds.
Nobody formed a connection with him? What are you talking about? You know, now that I think about it, I don't even remember if I see him in the next stair swap. And then Maximo and Ash shoot their shot at the already thrupled up Darian because they just want to fuck everybody. It is unhinged. So before the masquerade ball comes to an end, Scott makes Ashmal and Ramon pick a single from the singles that stepped forward for them the night before.
Sadie, Mia, and Frank step forward, so there's really only one question left to ask.
And they choose Frank, which makes sense. He's stepped up for them every single time. Jonathan's a little stung by that. The mixer ends, the singles are leaving, and as he's leaving, Jonathan pulls Becca aside and is like, yo,
you need to talk to your couple.
Why?
Because they were I have to be honest with you.
Yeah.
They pretty much told me that they're interested in like exploring me.
Because bros before hoes. No disrespect to any of the hoes. I got mad respect for you hoes.
I love you and I need to tell you that. I love you, okay?
I love you.
Okay.
Then at the end of that episode, Becca's like, yo, if they don't tell me about this, I'm gonna just swap out. Episode 7 is called Fun and Romance. And honestly, that's a lie of a title. That title is almost as much of a lie as Grady Hendrix' book, The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. I hate that guy. Darian continues to try to have a conversation with Brittany and Sean. I think that Darian wants to be open and date more than just the two of them.
And they asked me who I was interested in kissing, and I said Ash.
And Sean and Brittany are not open to that, but they're also like not really listening and not really having a discussion. And so it's kind of frustrating to watch for me.
How do you feel?
I think that people have to do what they want to do.
Yeah.
I'm who I am, and I'm not going to change who I am.
And I'm like, that's dope. But also, like, if listening to someone and just having an uncomfortable conversation is fundamentally changing who you are, that feels like an issue to me. Because at the very least, you need to have this conversation of like, oh, this just straight up isn't going to work. Like, if you want to be open, but we don't want to be open, then it just doesn't work. I feel like in a relationship, like, I'm sure there's varying degrees of open, but at the same time, you're either open or you're exclusive. And so one person isn't really getting what they want because they don't agree, and that's not good, right? I don't know. Also, I think at this point in the show we learned that Frank likes being Little Spoon, which is unfortunate because he's like 6'6" or something. So I feel like anybody in this house that wants to Little Spoon him, other than maybe Dylan, would just have their face in his shoulder blades and they couldn't breathe. You know, and like, let's talk about this for a second. A lot of men want to be Little Spoon, you know, but patriarchy makes it have to be the big spoon or whatever. Personally, I don't like either. I think both are a whack deal. You know, your arm falls asleep. It's too warm. You have to listen to somebody breathe. Like, this is how people breathe, by the way. I'm not going to keep any of this in the video, probably. Maximo and Ash continue to be sketchy. They have effectively become the villains of the show, like a non-binary Joker and a gender-fluid Harley Quinn. This episode's relationship session challenge is an obstacle course. So the single... Oh my goodness, it is so fucking late. The singles sit in a chair along the shore, and the couples compete in the obstacle course. And so, like, there's a question hidden in each obstacle. So they have to complete the obstacle, find the question, and then select a signpost with the right answer on it. Once you've answered all the questions and you've made it to your single, you run into the ocean. This is truly, like, it's silly and fun, but it's, like, boring to recap. Team Fitness, which is Dylan, Lauren, and Jess, they win. Whatever. Whatever. I don't think I got a clip of it, but randomly Dylan asked Jess if she's ever had sex to dubstep. And she's like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, I figured. And I'm sitting here like, how did you figure? Why would you ask this? And then I realized that just shows that I've never really been a raver. Like, I've been to raves a couple of times, but I guess it was just never a raver. I don't know if you fuck at raves. Basically, what I pictured was like putting on some music when you like get down in a romantic sense, but it's dubstep. And that was crazy to me. But I guess like if you're hooking up somewhere where dubstep just happens to be playing. But then again, some people might use dubstep to get into the... I don't know. What do you guys listen to? Don't tell me. I shouldn't know. Sorry. It's late. Becca and Ashmal are talking by the pool or the hot tub or whatever. Becca tells Ashmal about how Jonathan told her that Maximo and Ash told him that they're interested in him, but not to tell Becca.
Told Jonathan that they wanted to explore options with him and not to tell me.
And then Ashmal immediately goes and tells Ramon that Becca told Ashmal that Jonathan told Becca that Maximo and Ash told Jonathan that they want to pursue Jonathan, but not to tell Becca or something. I don't know. Did that make sense? I'm fucking lost. And then they immediately go and tell Frank. They're just telling everybody. This gets kind of messy. And this is like not in my notes at all. I truly think it's funny that people watch the first video and will probably get more views on the first video than the second one. The second half of the season is when the plot kicks in, when the tea steeps and spills. First 5 episodes is nothing compared to the last 5. Okay, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but there's definitely like more stuff that goes on thanks to the introduction of an actual villain. Also, super not the point, but Becca has perfect underboob, apparently.
Now that is what you call a perfect underboob.
That is a perfect underboob.
And they're real.
Yeah. Cheers to real titties.
And they've almost sold Ramon on boobs.
I think Ramon's an underboob guy now.
I mean, yeah, I don't even need to see side boob anymore. I'm sold on it.
Amazing.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
I'm glad I
sold me.
converted you.
And I don't know, guys. I just feel like if you gotta convince somebody, like if they don't see the appeal right away, boobs just might not be for them. A lot of sleazy marketing types use boobs to sell things. How you gonna sell boobs? Like if it's not for them, it's not for them. I don't know, just as a fan of the whole genre, I don't think you should have to try to convince people to like them. I also think it's like weird that they're really pressuring a gay man to like boobs. Like I know that Ramon says that he's don't knock it till you try it sexual, but if you have no interest in trying it, I don't think it's for you. Ashmal says something like, my favorite Becca is Becca when she knows her days are numbered. And I like totally get what you mean. My favorite Becca is literally anytime Becca's on screen.
Because we've had such an awesome time, and I feel like I've just heard from like a couple of people that you were saying you wanted to like explore connections with them.
Maximo and Ash play off Becca's feelings, like they just kind of, it's not, I actually have no idea what they were saying, to be honest. I wanted to be like, they gaslight her, they dismiss her, but they just talk in such nonsense that like they don't just gaslight and dismiss her feelings, they dismiss language for a little bit, you know, like, but it's very clear that they just do not value other people. Like other people's feelings don't matter as long as they get what they want, and what they want is to fuck as many cuties as they can get their hands on. I think at some point Sean and Brittany come and sit with Frank and the boys, and they're like watching Becca confront Max and Ash, and then Sean's like, oh yeah, they shot their shot at Darian as well. And so it's just like more tea. Later that night, I think as they're going to bed, Becca like tells Max and Ash that everybody knows what they've been up to and they're going to talk to them about it at breakfast. And Becca's like, whatever, I already dealt with my shit with you two. Everyone else's, that's your problem, not me. Which I respect, you know your worth and pick your battles. You can do no wrong, Becca. And Max and Ash they seem to take such delight and pleasure in being the source of pain and chaos in the house.
Oh my god.
We are the drama!
Finally!
These are the type of roommates that eat your secret stash of Cinnamon Toast Crunch, don't tell you about it, and then laugh at you when you're really upset that you don't get to eat your special breakfast on cheat day. I know that's specific. I'm still upset about it. Terrence, you were a piece of shit roommate. At breakfast, Brittany is really excited for drama, so she puts on her stupid furry rainbow hat, which she calls her drama hat.
I got my drama hat on, so shit's about to get real.
I hate it. Breakfast goes pretty bad.
Clearly it feels like there's some conversations that need to happen today to open up to us.
I just want to know, are you guys planning to pick Jonathan at the next ceremony?
Before the final stair swap, Becca's like, I can't wait to lay in my own bed and masturbate with my tits out. And I was like, you deserve it, queen. Enjoy that. And Maximo and Ash are like turned on. They're like, oh my God. And I'm like, you've already wasted an opportunity. What are you doing? Make up your minds. You're so messy. So this is the final official stair swap. Real quick, we just gotta acknowledge the Chris fit. What would this man wear to a wedding? I guess this is his approximation of looking nice, and we just have very different senses of style. If I were on a show like this, like I don't bat for that team, but still I would just be like, what are you doing, dog? Look at the effort that like Lena and Sadie and Junior and all these other people put in. What are you doing? Why are you doing it? Anyways, Scott warns everyone this may be the last official stair swap, but this is not the last time they have to make a decision. Lauren and Dylan stay with Jess, whatever. Yawn, boring. Maximo and Ash talk a lot of nonsense, and then they swap Becca. Becca's like, whatever. And then of the singles, Jonathan steps forward for some weird reason.
If he wants to be with Dracula number 1 and 2, have fun with that. Wow. There are no more tears that we are going to shed over you, boy, okay?
And they pick him, of course. Ashmal and Ramon stay with Frank. Sean and Brittany talk a lot about how great Sanu is, and they end on a cliffhanger. But in episode 9, we pick up right where we left off, and they choose to stay with Darian. Again, Scott reminds everyone that nothing is set in stone. Later, Ash, Hall, Maximo, and Jonathan just like awkwardly join Frank and the boys and try to force a conversation.
I mean, I do want to have a conversation with you guys. I know you're shaking your head right now.
Well, we talked about it. We don't need to have a conversation about anything.
Ashmal is like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to talk. But they keep like egging on Ramon and like poking and prodding and bullying him.
I don't think we owe anyone an answer right now.
I respect that. Right now it's way too fresh. Let's just put it at that.
Yeah, okay. Great. But you're not in the place to share, or you don't?
And he's like trying not to freak out. He's trying not to give them anything, but he gives them just enough of a reaction to satisfy their weird, I like hurting people's feelings kink. When we were watching the show, Alana and I were both like, I don't think Jonathan even kinda likes Maximo and Ash. And we just think that he was using them to get back into the house. The next morning at breakfast, Ramon dips before the villains and his ex show up. Jonathan goes after Ramon and goes up to Ramon and Ashmal's room, and they talk it out, and Jonathan is like,
I didn't know where you guys' head was at, but I wanted to step forward for you guys.
It is crazy to me that there's like no money at stake, and this is just all for love, I guess. This just kind of confirmed me and Alana's suspicions. I think it's kind of messed up. Jonathan starts acting kind of weird here, where he's like using people to get to other people. That's messed up, but it's reality TV. And maybe they made him. I don't know. Ashmal comes to check on Ramon, sees that Jonathan's there, and is like, I was going to go work out. Do you want to work out? And Ramon's like, yo, let's go work out. And they just ditch Jonathan. Shortly after that, Jonathan confronts Frank at the breakfast table and is like, I still like your boyfriends, and I'm going to take them. And we get a little hint of crazy supervillain Frank, and it's very fun.
Let the games begin. Did you tell him that you still like him?
Alana was like, no, Frank, no. And I was like, yes, Frank, yes. Later on, Frank and Ashmal are just like talking, chilling. Like they just got their feet in the pool or whatever. And Jonathan just like walks over and sits next to them, but doesn't say anything. It's very strange. I'm just like, fellas, don't do this. This is not Riz. This is the opposite of Riz. This is Zer. Anyways, Ramon has had enough of this nonsense, so he like walks away again. And Sean has had enough of his new gay best friend's drama, so he goes up and becomes Floyd Henderson from the show Smart Guy for a second and gives Ramon a talking to.
Just give it a fuck it, like it is what it is. And you said like, yo, if you know they were to have closure or pick him, I'd be done. So be done.
This is actually like a cute moment. You can like really feel the fremistry, you know, the friend chemistry, if you will. Jonathan and Ashmal like talk it out and they kind of reconcile.
I have no hard feelings towards you. I have nothing but genuine love and care for you because I got to know the person that you are, and I really do like that person.
Which is nice, I guess. Later on, everybody plays Dare Jenga, but it's just kissing. Whatever, dude. Like, if adults just want to hang out and kiss each other, they don't need a dumbass game to do it. You can just invite your friends over for a proper snog like a grown-up. Look, when I want to kiss my friends, I just call them. Jonathan, Maximo, and Ash have their first like three-way kiss during this game, and during their talking head, Jonathan just looks dead inside, and I find that very funny. Later, Ashmal and Ramon have a conversation, just the two of them, and Ashmal is like, I still have feelings for Jonathan, and Ramon kind of has like whiplash, and then they both agree that Jonathan is the one for their three or something. I don't know.
I kind of just feel bad for Frank, but in terms of this experiment, like, yeah, I think that's the only person like we really connected with.
Me too.
The three of them like hug it out, talk it out, whatever. It's nice. It's cute, I guess. The next day, Scott and Shamira arrive and they're like, is the throuple that you're in now the one that's going to lead you to the end of this experience? So Shamira has handpicked singles that she feels like some of the couples may have unfinished business with. Episode 8 is called Unfinished Business. So Lauren and Dylan bury the hatchet with Mia, who looks like she's on her way to Coachella. Mia talks about how she felt like objectified and kind of hurt, and it seems like there was like kind of a misunderstanding, but I'm kind of with Mia on like, I still think it's kind of fair because that's what it seemed like to me. But again, I only saw the edit. I didn't see everything. I mean, I still think that's super fair because that's what it looked like to me, but whatever. Brittany and Sean talk to Sanu, and Sanu's just kind of like, yo, like, I'd be open to exploring if you guys want to try again or something like that. And like, don't really have any thoughts on this other than Sanu is so pretty, it kind of scares me. Maximo and Ash talk to Darian, and Darian's kind of like, oh, I want to date both couples. I want to kiss you. You're so sexy. I'm so attracted to you. Blah, 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 blah. She leaves, and then Becca comes in, and they talk it out a little bit more. Maximo says some bullshit about not feeling an emotional connection to Becca, but wanting to try again. Maximo talks like they're always competing in a poetry slam, and I ought to know, I used to go to those all the time. Ashman and Rahman obviously talked to Jonathan, and that's that. The couples / thruples, I don't really know what's going on at this point. They regroup in the atrium living room thing, and they have to make one final decision. Lauren and Dylan are like, oh yeah, Mia's great, glad that we patched things up, but they decide to stay with Jess because they really like the connection that they have with her. Yawn, boring, who cares? I had such high hopes for them to be way more dramatic or over the top than they actually are, but they're just this weird blend of chill and cringe. It really let me down, Dylan. Rahman and Ashmal decide to swap, and Scott's like, yo, you alright with that, Frank? And I'm like, obviously not. This man is crying. Y'all made Groot cry. Look at this fucking sad tree. They, like, invite Jonathan. Jonathan agrees, and Ash is like, he deserves better.
I just know he deserves better.
I don't want to say, like, better means us, but in this situation, it is.
And I was just like... Maximo and Ash reveal that they talked to Becca and also Darian, which Sean and Brittany didn't know. They throw a little shade at Rahman and Ashmal by saying that they respect Brittany and Sean and Darian too much to disrupt that throuple, so they pick Becca. And I feel like Becca is actually being treated the way Mia felt, if that makes sense. Like, just the pick up, played with, put down, try something new, then see if I like you more, pick you up bullshit. I felt really bad for Becca here. Brittany kind of throws some shade at Darian for being like indecisive or something. And I don't really think that's it. I think it's just that Darian wants to be open. Darian doesn't like commitment and doesn't want to commit. And I think that should have been your guys' like clue that this wasn't a good idea if you don't agree on that. Some people just want a roster, you know? Some people need a Google Cal to keep all their hookups straight. Not straight like, straight. I just mean like organized. And then when Maximo and Ash think that Darian might be single and available, they're like, oh, never mind, fuck Becca.
If Brittany and Sean decide to swap Darian out, I'm gonna need to speak again, Scott.
But not like that. They just mean like, forget her. But then Sean and Brittany choose to stay with her, and so they're like, sad. And obviously, I think in the real world, some of this, I think in the real world, or like out of the context of a dating show, I probably wouldn't even give a rip other than, you know what, I take that back. I don't think it's ever right to just keep someone around as an option because you can't not have someone. I think like if you want to sleep around, as long as you're practicing safe sex and all that shit, like I don't really care. But I just think in this context of like keeping somebody around and like playing with their emotions or giving them false hope, and just keeping them around because they're an option, I think that's fucked up. On a show, off a show, whatever. Becca tries to have a conversation with Maximo and Ash while they're like taking a shower, and she asks like if her feelings were ever considered. She feels like a third option, and they just talk more of this weird neo-spiritual slam poetry bullshit where they just like say like, yeah, I don't fucking care about you. I wish I could tell you that I care about your feelings, but I don't, is what they're saying. And they just don't care about anything but their own gratification. And then whatever, like the next day or something, I don't know, they play like Throuple Twister. It's boring. It's one of those things where it's like it's boring to talk about, but like if you were to go and watch the show, you don't need to skip it. You know what I mean? So in this relationship session, the Thruples separate, like they all just go into old Panama as Thruples and walk around town and be like, oh, look at us, we're a Thruple and we kiss each other in public and they shop, and then they go to different bars, and random people that the couples know are just waiting for them, and they interrogate the single, and it's not that interesting. Dylan's dad looks just like Dylan, which I thought was funny. He looks like Johnny Knoxville, but like if he were a wrestler. And Maximo's younger sister kind of calls him a piece of shit, which I think is funny because they are. But like the only things that truly stood out to me as like this is relevant to like the storyline of the show would be like Brittany's best friend, after absolutely grilling Darian, is like, Brittany, like, since when have you been into girls? Like, you're not real gay, you're just like drunk gay or whatever. And Brittany's like, well, I think I'm bi-curious.
Like drunk gay.
Well, I wouldn't really say I'm gay. I think I'm more so, if anything, bi-curious.
It's not the first time we brought this up, but it's like...
Yeah.
And after that whole event, they go back to the resort. Darian and Brittany talk about it, and Brittany comes to the conclusion that she's fucking bi.
But you don't feel comfortable saying you're bi?
I like you, so what does that make me?
Well, I feel like if you're certain that you like me, then you're not curious.
So then I'm not curious then.
So then you would be bi.
I guess I'm fucking bi.
And I was like, hell yeah, good for you, girl. But also, like, how did you not know that? Like, I understand sexuality is confusing for a lot of people. A lot of people like question things as they like go through life or whatever. But I guess like if you know that you want like a girlfriend and a boyfriend, it just seems weird to me that you wouldn't be like, maybe I'm bisexual. Also, the other thing of note, which I thought was kind of funny, is like Ramon and Ashmal's friends from Chicago tell Jonathan about how they like have had orgies and go out and party and all this shit. And Jonathan gets like weirdly jealous and possessive. He's like, I don't know if I'd be cool with that.
You guys being like having so much fun in Chicago and stuff. Like that's the only thing that was coming to my mind. I'm like, how much fun are these boys having? And so like.
So that's kind of it for episode 9. Episode 10 is called Commitment. Season finale, baby. Brittany comes out to the whole family as bisexual.
I guess I'm like coming out as officially bisexual.
Congratulations, Brittany, on coming out as bisexual. You should watch my channel, Lesbians and Bisexuals. Love it. And if you join my Patreon, you're going to make a bunch of new friends. And now it's like the moment of truth, decision-making time. The singles like leave for the night, so everybody has time to think. And Darian's like, oh, I'm scared of commitment. And I'm like, whatever. I'm scared of clowns and spiders. Nobody's special. Shut up. That was mean. I'm sorry. It's like almost midnight. I'm kind of losing it. The couples all have like one last dinner in the resort, and Ramon kind of turns it into like an intervention for Maximo and Ash.
Do we feel like the other Thruples in the resort like are actually genuine Thruples?
All these people care about is their own pleasure, their own enjoyment, and they don't care how their actions affect other people. This is like individualism to a degree that's harmful. You know, like you can't be in community with people like this because they don't give a shit about how they treat you or if how they treat you hurts you. Like, go on, get out there, get some, you know? All of you watching this video, bon appetit. But people have fucking feelings. They aren't playthings. And these fucking clowns don't understand that. I just wish they'd go back to fucking Gotham City and bother the Batman or something. The Maximo and Ash flip it on Ramon and Ashmal, and they're like, well...
Now if we're gonna go into Thruples that we believe in or not.
And then Dylan cuts the tension, is like, all right, let's move on.
All right, well to that, here's to all the love to each and every one of you.
And that's the first time I've ever been thankful that Dylan was there. Okay, now the moment's here. It's the big day. A non-wedding wedding that means absolutely nothing. I feel like, yeah, every reality dating show has to have, like, the ceremony and then fucking, like a wedding-looking event. I don't know what you would call it, because I guess it's just a different aesthetic of ceremony. Anyways, Scott's on this weird baseball base-shaped platform. The couple gets on one side of it and the single gets on the other side, And then he's like, all right, if you guys want to commit to being in a throuple, step to the middle. So Dylan, who looks like a youth pastor that only eats protein shakes, Lauren and Jess are up first. Jess pulls Lauren and Dylan aside for a quick sidebar.
Just a quick little chat before we do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we like a quick little
Quick
chat
chat.
before?
You want to have a chat now?
Which nobody was prepared for. Like, look at fucking Scott. This is so funny to me.
Is that cool?
Sure. I suppose.
And Jess like pulls them away and is like, yo, so I just want to double check, like, you guys are cool with like taking it slow with the physical stuff. And they're like, yeah, we're cool. So then they're like, oh, sick. And then they commit to being a throuple. Maximo, Ash, and Becca are up next, and I feel like we've retconned Junior, the guy they like took a shower and made out with, just completely out of the show. Nobody steps forward, and Maximo and Ash blame Becca for it, and they're just like, wow, you betrayed us, and you lied to us, and you manipulated us. And Becca calls him out and walks off like the icon that she is.
It just didn't make much sense for me to fully lean into that after one day of it being good.
I feel free.
And Scott's like, cool, well, you guys still gonna do polyamory? What are you gonna do now? And they're like, yeah, we're gonna continue to be the worst and use people. And they start laughing about it. And you can see in this shot that Scott fucking hates these people. And it's so validating and it's so funny. Then it's Brittany and Sean and Darian next. Darian hesitates a little bit and they do some like drama, whatever.
Jesus Christ.
But then she steps forward and it's cute. Before they do the thing, Jonathan interrupts Scott again.
If you want to commit as a throuple, please meet...
Wait, can I just say something real quick? I do want to ask you both if you guys want to be my boyfriends.
And it's very cute. I do feel bad for Scott, though, because he's just trying to do his fucking job. People keep interrupting him in his big moment. They all lived poly ever after, except no, they didn't. Lauren, Dylan, and Jess like split up a couple months after the show, partly because Jess is in Texas and Dylan and Lauren are in Arizona. The distance just wasn't it. And it was totally understandable. Brittany, Sean, and Denise split up amicably shortly after the show, but Sean and Brittany did get engaged, so that's cool. Becca is out there living her best life, and she just got a brand new Instagram follower. It's me. Maximo and Ash are still on the prowl in New York City, and when I was making this video, I realized that one of my like really close friends is also like part of that same scene in New York City, and I'm really worried. I'm like, I swear, if Maximo hurts Hida, I'm oh my god. Ashmal, Rahman, and Jonathan. I don't know why I didn't write this down in my notes, but Ashmal, Rahman, and Jonathan, they dated for a while. Then Ashmal broke up with both of them, and Rahman and Jonathan dated for a little bit, and then they split. But Rahman and Ashmal are still best friends. Lastly, Corey, Wilder, and Denise stayed together like for a while after, like at the end of the show, they're like, yeah, they're still together. And I looked on Instagram and Wilder and Corey are still together for sure. And I think they're still cool with Denise. I don't know if they're still dating, but you know, cool. Fun show, I guess. The first time I've ever finished a dating show. And I've enjoyed this process. It's not like, I don't think I'd ever just like sit down to watch reality TV just for my own enjoyment. I think I did have some fun just knowing that I think I enjoyed making the first video, and I've enjoyed making this one, even though I'm like pretty tired and it's going to be a lot of editing because I've been filming for almost 2 hours now and I have a lot of footage to go through. So whatever, it's going to be a lot of work, but I still think I enjoy making something out of watching these. So definitely down to watch more, so if you have recommendations, throw them in the comments down below. Maybe I'll catch the next season of Love is Blind. I don't know. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you to my super duper don't fretters, Lauren, Desi, Cassie, Shade, and Oliver. You are helping to ensure that I'm able to keep creating content and put it out as frequently as possible. Again, if you want to support the channel, gain access to exclusive content, gain access to my private Discord server, make sure you consider subscribing to my Patreon at patreon.com/don'tfret_. If not, no worries, but please, before you go, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. My name is D. Don't fret. I'll see you next time. Peace out.